All right, real quick, if you've already seen what I'm going to call my belated thank you to everybody video for all of the support y'all gave me through some really hard, crazy times, but also some specific thank yous to people who sent me samples to test and evaluate that I just didn't get to for months and months because of said hard, crazy times. In that video, I featured samples I got from Roberto at Snaggletooth LLC. And yes, down in the description, you're going to see a link not only to their website, but to their YouTube channel where they've got their tutorials. I figured their products deserved their own stand-alone video, so I went ahead and recut that into its own feature, and well, here it is. So it's about the middle of April. Moved in, my wife's out of the hospital, but nothing's unpacked and we're both really sick, so not much is getting done. I get a message from Roberto at Snaggletooth LLC. Apparently he's watched some of my videos in the Mike's Big Marshall folder exploration journey, specifically the ones where, well, if the knife doesn't have a pocket opening hook already installed from the factory, I invariably say something like, man, I wish this had a snaggletooth on it. And that is a testament to the quality and success of his company. That if you're in the knife community, a knife enthusiast, and I say snaggletooth, you probably know what I'm talking about. The name of the company is kind of become synonymous with the product, like Kleenex or Band-Aid or something like that. So that's a good sign. So he asked me if I'd like to try some samples on some of my cold steel knives that I reviewed. And I said, well, hell yeah. So he sent me 3. And if you go to the website, I'm absolutely putting a link down in the description below. There's an entire page devoted to compatibility, so you can see which hook fits on your knives. And the medium AL hook fits on a lot of the large cold steel folders, with a couple of interesting outliers, like the Voyager clip points need a different clip because of the shape of the spine. And then they come in a couple of different color schemes. So he sent me 3 of the ALs. One being this kind of silver stainless, what they kind of call a plain one, which I think he was thinking I was going to put on the Vaquero, but I went ahead and put it on the clip point because this is the one, as I said, I've been carrying and using all the time. And we'll take a closer look at these in a second. He also sent me a blue one specifically with the Frenzy in mind. And then he sent me a black finished one. And I thought about it for a while and decided to try it out on my old beat up American Lawman, which we're absolutely going to give another review to here in the future because, yeah, I feel like it deserves it. But let's go ahead and take a closer look at these and talk about installation, function, and, well, you've already seen how they work coming out of the pocket, but let's get to it. One thing I'm going to do is put up a lot of close-up pictures so you can kind of see these things as we talk about them. But one thing I'm not going to do is an assembly video because they have their own YouTube channel. I'll put the link in the description, and it's on their website. That is going to demonstrate that a whole lot better than I can. But let's get back to the basics of the product. As mentioned, there is a compatibility page for many different knives, many different knife brands. If you've got a removable thumb stud, you can probably stick one of these on your knife. Now, they come in 2 materials. The original one, which is less expensive, is in Delrin, and that one I think is just a black version. But what I've got is the 6061 aluminum version, and that comes in, well, 8 different colors, depending on what the color scheme of your knife is. And as I said, there are different sizes and left to right orientation. You know, what am I talking about with left to right orientation? So, talking with Roberto, he said basically what you want is if you are opening your knife with your right hand, you want to leave a stud on that side and the hook on the other side. Well, what if you want to open the knife with your other hand? Does it make a difference? Actually, not really. The hook makes a perfectly good thumb stud. Now, when you order your product, it will specifically, you go through your compatibility list, but it will also ask you specifically which knife you have. And that will then customize what kind of hardware they send you. So for instance, I got a couple of different sets of baggies, and it's broken down again a little bit better on their website with better photos than I can give you. But what you get the aluminum hook, which has a bit of a slot in it, as you can see, which allows you to adjust it to, how high the spine of your knife is. Also comes with an aluminum hex nut, which serves as a thumb stud for the other side, or, this is why they're asking you what knife you're ordering this for, they will try to send you multiple screws for different thicknesses of spine, and there's also a little washer in there you can use as a spacer if you need it. But they'll see if they can get you a screw that actually matches the thumb stud on your original knife, so you can save basically half of it when you screw this together. And that's basically what it is. You've got a screw, you've got the hook, and then either you can use that nut, or you can use the other half of your own thumb stud, which I've done with, well, 2 of my 3 examples. So that's a nice touch. How hard is it to put these together? Well, they also include a couple of bits and bobs if you're wondering what some of these other little things you're seeing. There's a couple of different Allen keys for the different size screws. There's also a little piece of tubing and a little round rubber disc. Things to help you get a hold of the little tiny fiddly bits so you don't have to struggle nearly as bad. So that's a really nice touch as well. And again, their videos will show you how to use these things. The only real problem I had installing them was breaking the Loctite on the original thumb studs. And yes, I did use my little micro torch to heat it up a little bit and break that adhesive. But once I figured that out, the rest of it was a breeze. All right, so after carrying and using these for a while, let's talk about 3 differences I've discovered between the Snaggletooth and that original flat style cold steel pocket opener like the one on this Espada Large. When I reviewed these, one of the things I said is this nice wide flat plate is really nice for pressing your thumb against for close work. What about the Snaggletooth? It kind of sticks out the back of your spine. Does it get in the way of you pressing your thumb against your spine for close work and leverage? Well, with my stubby little thumbs, depending on where I grab the knife and how high I want to get on it, I can actually use this as kind of a thumb ramp to press against. If I want to get higher, even with my stubby little thumbs, I could just reach right over the top of it, and it's nice and rounded so it's not creating any hot spots for me. Now, is that going to get in your way? Well, it's something you're going to have to decide for yourself. The next big difference is, well, this is kind of wide and serrated and has a lot of sharp corners, which makes it grab your pockets really positively. Get that snag and open. But I've also discovered that over time with repeated use, it does kind of tear up your pants just a little bit. And the Snaggletooth isn't going to do that. Is it a little less positive in the catch, especially if you're wearing, shall we say, softer pants like slacks? Yeah, that is an issue, but it's a trade-off. It's a little kinder on those, dressier pants. The third difference between the two is, well, let's talk about if you're not going to open it using the pocket hook feature, and you're going to basically try to open it conventionally as if this was a thumb stud. Well, with my stubby little fingers, especially with wider blades like this, because that is higher up on the blade than the thumb stud would be, that's more of a reach for me. And it's a bit awkward. If you've got longer thumbs than me, you're probably not going to notice. However, yeah, the thumb stud is still right where it usually is, and that makes opening very comfortable. And as I demonstrated, if you want to do this left-handed, yeah, the other side of the hook makes a perfectly good thumb stud. No problem. All right, down to the unflattering waistline view, we've got right side clip, pocket clip in its usual orientation for me. Best carry, right front pocket. Hook is facing the corner of the pocket, and this is my most positive deployment. If I'm planning on carrying it for some reason in the left front pocket, well, I'm probably going to have to reverse the pocket clip in order to get that facing the right way so I can draw it with my left hand. Yeah, and you'll see it doesn't really make too much difference if you're getting the right or left clip. Doesn't really affect how it hooks your pocket. Other option would be trying to face it with the clip forward like this and catch it here, but you'll notice it's really awkward based on the way the blade swings out. I'm kind of getting in the way of myself. This also comes up when we go to back pocket. Often carry these in right back pocket. Now the clip's facing, well, away from the nearest corner of my pocket. I'm going to have to do one of two things. One is I can twist the knife, catch the pocket. I'm twisting it about 45 degrees, and that works pretty well. The other thing I could do, depending on what's in my pocket, I could drag it all the way over here to the other side of my pocket and do it that way. Now, left back pocket. Again, I probably need to reverse the pocket clip for that to work better, but in this orientation, mostly what I'm going to do is drag it all the way across and do it like that. My problem is, if I'm facing this towards the outside corner of the pocket, in either orientation, I am getting that issue where I've got to be really careful about my own hand getting in the way of opening. You'll notice I really snagged myself right then. That was not good. So yeah, learning how to work with these is definitely a little trial and error. Now, these issues apply to all pocket opening systems. And one of the biggest safety concerns I've mentioned in previous videos, if you're working especially with a really long blade, as it swings open, you got to be careful about what might be in the way. If I'm wearing a jacket or other cover garment, let me try to do this like really slow and you can see what the issue is. This is obviously a real big problem with a huge knife like an Espada XL, but even here, yeah, you'll see that path that the blade is swinging open. If there's anything in the way of that, it's going to get snapped, cut, slashed. Yeah, I did get the corner of my own pocket when I did it out of the back pocket. So yeah, something to be aware of. All right, a quick addition, because I realize some of you will probably invariably criticize my incorrect and dangerous deployment of the pocket hook system. And yes, I also realize in a couple of clips I called it a clip and not a hook. I think I was being self-conscious because we were doing the unflattering waistline view. It's a hook, not a clip. But I did that as kind of a don't try this at home. There are wrong and definitely more dangerous ways to deploy these tools. So you need to be aware of that. And also what you're wearing and other things that might get in the way. There is a little bit of inherent danger in these pocket opening systems. Far and away, yes, the best way to do it, which I think was the intended design, is going to be a front pocket with the hook, not clip, hook, facing the corner of the pocket for best deployment. But again, you might have to be aware of anything that might snag out here. Second best system I have found is back pocket, which is where I tend to carry my smaller folders, with the hook facing not outwards but inwards. And as I said, in that system, well, what I usually do, I don't usually drag it all the way across, but I do just simply twist it and pop it open. And again, there's nothing hanging out here behind me. And yeah, I've even snagged things just because I was standing too close to them. So something to be aware of. And yes, now I have to go stitch up my pants. Bottom line, if you like the pocket opening feature, and as I said, there's benefits and potential drawbacks to it, but if you like it, and your knife didn't come with one, but it did come with a removable thumb stud, I think this is a worthwhile high-value upgrade that's actually also pretty affordable. I'm not going to quote you any prices because they might change. The Delrin one, as I mentioned, is much cheaper than the aluminum ones, but the aluminum ones, even on my heavily impacted budget, I think I'm going to buy a few more and try them out on some of my other knives, and not just cold steel. Check out that compatibility list. It will probably surprise you. Not just the list of knives, but the brands that these things can adapt to. You're also getting that customer service and assistance. I mean, even just checking out, they're going to ask you, which knife are you getting this for? Because they're going to try to get your hardware. If you happen to like the thumb stud that you've already got, maybe you can save half of it, which I did on 2 of the 3 knives I've tried these on. And, well, I put the hex nut on the American Lawman, and part of that, yeah, was to see how that hex nut actually works as a thumb stud, which the answer is just fine. And, yeah, the color matches whatever hook you're getting with it. But the original thumb stud on this particular iteration of the American Lawman was just a chunky set screw. It was nothing fancy. So, yeah, try this out for a while. I don't think I'm going to put, well, what's left of the original thumb stud back on here. All right. Very grateful to Roberto for reaching out to me, offering me the opportunity to try out his products instead of just saying, man, I wish I had one, and then never getting around to actually buying one with every other crazy thing that's going on in my life. And yeah, Roberto, we are probably going to be doing more business going forward. So there's my recommendation. Thank you so much. Also, again, I can't thank all of you enough for all of the support you've given me through these really, really hard times. And thank you, as always, for watching and putting up with my madness and liking the videos and subscribing and adding to our conversation, and not just in the comments, but reaching out to me on other platforms like Facebook. I'll try to make myself available, not just to answer questions, but just to chat. We can share our love of the things we love, right? And yes, I do have a lot of other content planned. I'm still kind of working the bugs out of the new place in terms of, shooting and what I can do with it. There's a lot of potential here now that I've gotten things a little bit more settled. So thank you and stay tuned.